On today's recipe, we are simplifying one of my favorite Chinese recipes, the Scallion Pancakes. I have removed all the unnecessary parts and now I'll explain every single technique in detail so that you can make the perfect Scallion pancake, which is crispy, flaky and delicious. Enough has been said, let's get the ingredients and start making it. 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. 6 to 8 green scallions, some olive oil, a little bit of salt, about 1.5 cups of almost boiling water. In a medium-sized bowl, mix together the flour, the water, a little bit of olive oil and a pinch of salt. Do not worry about the salt because we will add more later. Because our water temperature will be almost boiling, it is better to use a wooden spoon to mix the dough together. Once the dough looks shaggy, move it into a floured surface and then work it with your wrist. If the dough looks too sticky, you might add a little bit of flour, but be very careful because boiling water dough tends to be more sticky than regular water dough. Once the dough cools down, it will lose all its stickiness. Once the dough is smooth and ready, which will probably take about 5 minutes, cover it with plastic wrap and let it rest for about an hour. The resting process is very necessary because it will help us roll the dough better. Now that the dough is resting, let's prepare the scallions. Cut about 2 inches from the root and then start slicing the scallions in thin slices. Now that you're done with the scallions and your dough is still resting, go and check out my Instagram page, Julio Cooks, where I post other recipes and restaurant reviews. If you do make this recipe, make sure to send it to me so I can post it on my Instagram. Now that it has been an hour and our dough is ready, let's move it into a floured surface and cut it into 6 equal pieces. Now grab the first piece and roll it into a circular shape. Make sure to use enough flour so that the dough doesn't stick to the surface. The sheet should be thin and about 10 inches in diameter. Now that we rolled the dough, let's get some olive oil and brush the inside of the dough. We don't want the whole sheet to be covered in olive oil, so using your brush, pretend like you're painting a smaller circle on the inside. Then you can add some salt and some of the scallions that we cut previously. Now it's time to have some fun. Roll the dough away from you, just like a jelly roll, into a cylinder shape. Once the dough is rolled, start wrapping it around into a spiral shape, just like you do with a cinnamon roll. When you are rolling it around, give it a little bit of a shake so that it makes the dough longer. Put the first roll aside and let's repeat the exact same process for all the remaining pieces. Make sure to cover each of them with plastic wrap so that the dough doesn't dry out. After you're done with all 6 pieces, grab the first one that you worked on and roll it again. Because of the scallions, the dough might look too sticky, so use some flour when you're rolling it up. Now that we have the first scallion pancake, let's start cooking it. Put a tablespoon of olive oil on medium heat. Once the oil is hot enough, add the first scallion pancake. Cook it for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side until it looks golden. Make sure to flip it frequently so that it doesn't burn the scallions. Personally, I usually prefer to roll another pancake while this one is cooking so that you can make them as you go. Once the pancake looks golden on both sides, take it off the heat and let's cut it into equal pieces. To prepare the dipping sauce, I'm going to use a very simple recipe, which requires 1 garlic clove, 1 teaspoon of dry white wine, and 2 teaspoons of soy sauce. And that's it! That's how you make scallion pancakes. I hope you guys really enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you on the next video.